Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to Totally Dacob. Today we're going to be reviewing Chucky, Season 2, Episode 4, Death on Denial, or In Denial, which is a gameplay on Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile. And it is a murder mystery episode, a very, very interesting direction in which Don Mancini took this episode and this entire show with this one episode. I mean, wow. We're going to get to all the details. Subscribe to my channel here on the tubes. You can also follow me on Patreon, superdacob, all spelled together for extra perks. I live stream on my main Super Dacob channel every Saturday where I film these videos live in front of a live virtual audience. So be sure to join me on Super Dacob as well, where you can partake in these live chats and live streams every Saturday. So you guys, I have my co-chatters here with me. Usually I have my good guys buddy Chucky to spend time with me during these live streams, but Chucky today is on a mission, so he's not with me in the fashion bunker. However, I have the Madballs Chucky with me instead today. He does have a tendency of rolling away from me, so I have to hold him straight. And I got one of my favorite backpacks of all time. I got my Good Guys backpack with me to guide me through this review. Spoiler-filled review of episode 4 of Chucky season 2. And it could you could say this is his head on top of the backpack. It's like his outfit, his little overalls, and then he has his like head on top of there. The proportions are completely off, but this is the only Loungefly backpack that I own, by the way, and I wear it a lot. It's teeny tiny, obviously, so I usually just wear it on one shoulder, and then it kind of put it to the front so nobody can, grab my stuff from the back. So I just kind of wear it like this usually. But anyway, boy, oh boy, have I got something to say about episode 4. Now, has anybody seen it in the chats? So spoiler alert. We're going to talk spoilers now. Debbie said loved it. Very funny episode, says Anthony. Debbie, I do not own a Glen doll. No. And oh, hey, Blue Egyptian Lotus, how's it going? Welcome. So, there is a video of Chucky from the past. I think this was from the era of Bride of Chucky. Or was it Seed of Chucky as well? Where Chucky is kind of like this, dude sitting in his mansion, like rich, he's the famous actor / author. And he's sitting next to a fireplace, he has a cigarette or a pipe, and he's saying, now we're going to talk about, how this went down, this and that. So there's that whole concept that they shot many, many years ago of Chucky reading or talking about his show. Or the movie. During a television show, that's the concept of it. Now, that concept, I think Don Mancini brought back to life for episode 4 of Chucky season 2. Because this time around, Chucky has his own talk show. And the episode begins, and we're breaking the fourth wall here because Chucky's talking to us, the audience, but also to the audience in the studio as they're filming the live show, a little bit like what happens here in the Fashion Bunker when we film the live streams every Saturday. But he's not just talking to us, but he's talking to us as if he's saying, hey, we're all watching him shooting his show, shooting season 2 of his show. Almost implying as if all the kills, the storyline, none of it is real, right? It's all scripted and acted, except at the end of the episode, he kills a person in his studio because she came out saying, oh, it was always my dream to get, killed by Chucky in a movie or in one of his movies or TV shows. And then she wanted a crazy death and he stabs her to death at the end, right? And he said, well, now you got what you wished for. So it's very, very meta. on many, many levels. But before he kills her, uh, he's sitting on his couch talking to the audience. The audience is applauding and, saying stuff, or applauding, and you can hear them reacting to his jokes and comments. And then he says, well, this is going to be a special episode of Chucky, and we're going to go to see what Tiffany is doing. Because in episode 3, we had no contact with Tiffany. Tiffany was not in that episode whatsoever, nor were Glen and Glenda. Glen and Glenda appear at the end of episode 2, but then we don't see them in episode 3 again. And actually, we only see them from the back. We only see their feet in episode 2. But in episode 4, we finally get to meet Glen and Glenda. But in episode 4, we don't get to see the kids in the reform school. So Lexi's not there, Jake is not there, Devin is not there. None of them are there. Like it's as if they never existed even. Which is, I guess, dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because I did not miss them in episode 4. So it's kind of dangerous because episode 4 gave me something better. And you see where I'm going with this? I love the Jake story. I love the Jake storyline. But I prefer how Don Mancini is really trying hard to expand this universe, and how in episode 4 he gave us much more potential. He showed us much more potential for Chucky than just always having the antagonist, always having the kid battling the doll, and it's always the same story. It gets a little bit boring after a while, right? But he gave us a glimpse of what Chucky can be. And much, much, much more than that, right? So this opens up a whole new world of opportunities. But it doesn't, but it also showed me that I don't need the other kids. I've bonded with them. Julie Scott says, I missed them. I bonded with them. I love the characters. I love their story arches, but actually, I wouldn't mind seeing those characters in a coming of age story or drama without necessarily Chucky in it. You know what I mean? And Chucky is way more than they are. Debbie says, and how many eggs he can say per episode, right? How many F words, F bombs he can drop per episode, and then while he's stabbing her at the end, he's like F F F F F F F F F. Loved it. It was super funny. But that's also something that Don Mancini got from John Waters, because John Waters, was it for the movie Pecker, where in an interview he said that they would allow him in order to not get an R rating or an X rating, he's allowed to use the F word once or twice only in a feature film. And he used it in that one scene where the actress said, oh, I'm only allowed to say this amount of time, and then says it. So Don Mancini kind of references John Waters, but we know that Don Mancini is a fan or a colleague and a fan of John Waters, because John Waters is in Seed of Chucky in Don Mancini's movie, which is my favorite Chucky, by the way. Even though a lot of people don't like Seed of Chucky, that's my favorite one. So, but anyway, people have been saying in other reviews that Tiffany's a little bit too over the top. She's too camp all the time. And I kind of agree. I wouldn't mind seeing Tiffany at least once serious and less of the baby talk, less of the childish behavior. Now, I guess she's overacting it. I guess Jennifer is overacting it because Tiffany is an over-the-top character that's very cartoon-ish. And she's possessed. So Tilly is possessed by Tiffany. So she's trying to channel that silly, kind of goofy Tiffany vibe through herself. But then when we see, Glen and Glenda spending time with their mom before the mystery dinner in the flashback scene. And, they recall how she would just like talk, 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 drink, 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 always drunk, drunk, drunk. At one point, she would just like collapse, and she's just like sitting on the couch, but collapsed. And it kind of gave a little bit more context as to why Tiffany is so over the top all the time. It's not just because Tiffany's cuckoo. I'm not talking about Jennifer Tilly now. Tiffany. Not just that she's cuckoo, but she's also really heavy on the drinking. So she's always a little bit drunk and always a little bit beside herself. And then probably inside of her, Jennifer Tilly is struggling to kind of come out, right? Because she's possessed by Tiffany. But still, it would be cool to see Tiffany less of a joke. She's very slapstick, way too slapstick. And I'm saying this because we see a glimpse of the serious Tiffany, and we see it in the last episode, at the end of the last episode of season 1, and we see her at the beginning of the first episode of season 2, where she's in the truck with all the Chuckies pointing the gun at Andy. She's dead serious. The doll Tiffany. She's serious. She's upset. She is in control. She's controlling the Chuckies. She's controlling Andy. She's not that ditzy, my baby. That's not that. She's very much like, okay, you do this, you do that, and I like that Tiffany, and I miss that Tiffany. And we only get her that serious in doll form. But we only got her in doll form for like half a minute. And then her head gets chopped off and delivered to Tiffany/Tilly. So Debbie says Jennifer Tilly usually overacts. So yeah, I think she's been a little bit typecast into that overacting role, and I've seen her also, after Bride of Chucky, when Roseanne Barr, after the Roseanne show ended, Roseanne Barr had her talk show, and Jennifer Tilly came to the talk show to give an interview about Bride of Chucky, and so there she was herself, just promoting the movie. And even there, she couldn't really just, I don't know, be more calm. She was very over the top, felt kind of insecure, and was trying to deliver, I'm funny moments. And I'm just like, well, go calm down. You don't need all of that. But then again, she's a very famous poker player. She posted on Twitter the other day, she says, what did she say? She doesn't give a range of emotions she acts, or something like that. And I found that very curious. Or she can act emotions, not feel them. Something weird she said in combination to Tiffany. But that was something she said on Twitter. Brockstar, Roseanne, period. Yeah, we love Roseanne. I do. I really do. Anyway, so we're in this scenario where Glen and Glenda arrive to the mansion. Apparently they've forgotten, or so we're led to believe, that they've forgotten what really happened to them in Seed of Chucky. They seem to not remember who their father is. They seem to not remember what happened. Glen and Glenda at a certain point say to Tiffany, they think it's Jennifer Tilly. They think their mom is Jennifer Tilly, not Tiffany, right? They say like, oh, I remember, like, I have this nightmare of somebody calling me shitface or shithead. And that's what Chucky called Glen and Glenda, right? Lovingly. And then Nika reveals later on in a flashback that Nika is Chucky to Glen and Glenda, and proves to be Chucky by saying to Glen and Glenda shithead or shitface. And then Glen and Glenda are like, oh my God, you are our father? How is that possible? Why are you in the body of this person? And so Glen and Glenda decide to help Nika escape from Jennifer's clutches. So Glen and Glenda, just like in Seed of Chucky, are good, but they also have a sadistic evil streak inside of them, and you never know how you're going to trigger that. Now, in the movie Seed of Chucky, Glen usually becomes evil when Glen is Glenda. But Glen is good. it's a very simplistic explanation to it. It's not that simple because obviously in the TV show, Don Mancini goes a little bit further and shows us that Glenda has a sadistic streak, but is not purely evil. Glen is insecure, soft, we don't know, but interesting how it's all reversed. Glen is wearing the long hair. Glenda has the short hair. So you're confused as the viewer right from the get-go. You're like, and I remember seeing this like at the opening scene when Jennifer Tilly says, Glenda, hi, and she has that puddle of blood in front of her and she's trying to hide the corpse. And I'm like, wait, why did she say Glen to the wig version of Glenda? And why did she say Glenda to the short-haired version? And I thought that they made a mistake in the editing at the beginning. I thought, oh wait, did they make a mistake in the editing? But then she keeps calling them with the reversed, kind of like subverting expectations. And then I'm like, oh, okay, wow, great. I love how Don Mancini messed with us that way. So yeah, Glen has the long hair. Glenda has the short hair. Living for that moment as well. And then, so you're thinking, well, Glenda is going to be the sadist, and of course Glenda does kill a couple. Yeah. Glenda just so happened to kind of, kill somebody. And Glen is kind of there standing like thinking, oh no, I can't do this. How am I going to, why are we doing this? I feel, all caught up in their feelings and emotions, just like in Seed of Chucky. But then Glenda, takes control. And towards the end, when Nika finally manages to escape the mansion, and Glenda starts running after her, I thought, oh my God, Glenda wants to kill Nika. And I was shocked. I thought to myself, oh my gosh, wow, okay, so she's really her father's kid, right? Or they are their father's kid, Glenda. But then last second, right, Glenda jumps over the fence, the truck opens up, Nika rolls into the truck, Glenda jumps across the wall, whatever the fence, jumps into the front of the truck, and I'm like, oh, Glenda was in cahoots with whoever is in the truck. At first I thought it's going to be Andy, but it's not Andy. Who is in the truck? Oh, Glen is good, Glenda has the evil. Right, Debbie, but Glenda helped Nika escape and didn't kill Nika. Maybe because Glenda knows that Chucky is inside of Nika, partially, and wants to know more about how to find the root of Chucky. So that's why Glenda decided to help Nika. But Kyle, thank you, Debbie. Kyle is in the truck. So Kyle is alive. That is great news. And I am super curious to find out, how did Kyle get in touch with Glenda? Or did Glenda get in touch with Kyle? How did they meet each other? How did they find each other? How did that work out? And how long have they been in touch with each other? Oh my God, so many questions. But then again, we have this whole side story happening, which is the murder mystery episode, right? And the murder mystery episode brings in Jennifer's family, her real sister. Jennifer Tilly's real sister is in the show, and it's really funny how they keep playing on the reality, how they say, well, are you older or younger than Jennifer Tilly? And she's like, I'm younger than her, even though I was nominated for an Oscar before she even started acting and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. Very meta. Jennifer Tilly's real friends, like the Real Housewives of something. I never watched the Real Housewives, so I don't know that lady, the blonde one. She acted, Gina was amazing. Oh my God. Gina stole the show. Stole the show. I wanted more of her. I want to see more from her. It was really cool. The whole mansion is built up as an interesting set where you could kind of play with a who killed who done it, a murder mystery. Done really well, I gotta say. Beautiful lighting, funny kind of, moments of mix-ups, like who did what. There's that kind of comedy slapstick happening while the death scenes are unfolding. More and more people die. The whole gender situation, the lesbian story, the heterosexual story, the gender mixed story. I mean, it's it's mind-boggling in the best of ways. And then I'm kind of thinking this might be it for all of the extra characters. It was like kind of one-off thing. And then in episode 5, we're going to go back to the reform school. Glen and Glenda might then end up in the reform school as well. I don't know. But definitely, I feel like this whole setup that we had for Tiffany or / Jennifer Tilly for this murder mystery scenario was like, I want to see more of that. It doesn't have to be a murder mystery scenario. I want to see more of that, sort of implementing other characters that are connected to the real life of these actors, but are also characters in the show. Now, having said all that, I would love for Jennifer Tilly to tone down the kooky acting and be a little bit less slapstick, a little bit less manneristic, just because, and I'm just saying this, if all the actors were delivering that tone, then the show would be a slapstick show, and then it would work. But the other actors have more nuance. The other actors go in and out of, okay, now they're delivering a comedic, sentence, and now they're delivering a serious conversation, and it works. But unfortunately with Tiffany, it's always 1,000%. And it's sometimes I'm like, ugh, it's a pity because she kicks me out of it sometimes now. It's starting to become a little bit much. Unfortunately, because I love Jennifer Tilly to bits. At the beginning of the episode, I thought that Glen and Glenda, I thought that the acting was a little bit rusty, but then I realized, actually, it's not. It's really good. It's really, really good. Glen and Glenda, wonderful casting. Subtle nuance to their performance, to their delivery, like when they deliver something funny, something serious, something nasty, something evil, something good. It's very nuanced. And don't forget, this is the same actor playing both parts, but also being gender non-conforming in real life, but also as a character. And it's so well explained. Like, it allows you to understand also kind of a gender neutral person by splitting them up into these two characters, but the same person is acting both of them. And then you actually, first of all, you learn much easily to say they, because it's two. So it's one person, but it's they. And beautifully, played out with long hair Glen, short hair Glenda. That whole concept, very, very fascinating. Loved it. Brockstar says, I've been reading reviews that Jennifer is carrying the second season. Listen, there are huge fans of Jennifer Tilly out there. I am as well. Don't get me wrong. I love Jennifer Tilly. Adore her. And she is the moment. When she's there, she's there. But imagine if she, just from time to time, stepped out from that level and just be a little bit here. Just give us a glimpse of it, just a flavor, and then go up there again. You can be up there again, but just give us little, moments that we can kind of go with you there, and then you can be up there again, and then just give us a hint, and then go up there again. I'm craving that. It's kind of like a wish I have. Maybe that's just a stylistic choice that I would prefer for myself. I'm not speaking for other people, but it's something that I would really, really appreciate. It would be something that I would enjoy immensely, to have more flavors come from her. But, Brockstar says, I totally agree, Dacob. But don't get me wrong, Brockstar. Like, as I said, I think, the Floor Runner. Yes, Bound, 1996. Bound, huge, made Jennifer also really big. But, Dacob, I love how you take us to places. Thank you. But, I also love how Don Mancini takes us places. I think Chucky is an awesome TV show. It is so beautiful. It is camp in the best of ways. It is also serious in the best of ways. It's the best coming of age story. Now, Jennifer, well, Tiffany doesn't manage to block Nika from escaping. She also doesn't manage to come to the bottom of the mystery of really understanding who the killer is fully. Because, I mean, she killed someone as well. You know, the police officer is dead in her closet. He was killed even before Glen and Glenda arrived. But she doesn't manage to figure out who the killer is. She's very confused. She's sad that Chucky is leaving because Chucky is inside Nika. She's also sad that Nika is leaving because she started a homosexual relationship with Nika. Not that Nika wanted to, but it happened. So, problematic. But now she's like desperate because Nika left / Chucky left. So now Tiffany doesn't have any sort of control over what Chucky might be planning to do. Because she wanted to get out of Chucky all the information that she could. But now she can't. Or maybe she knows already. The chopped off head of Tiffany, the doll, in the beginning of season 2, right? That Tiffany finds in her bed. The real life Tiffany finds in her bed the chopped off doll head of Tiffany. Now, question, who put it there? At this point, Glen and Glenda? Could have Glen and Glenda put it there? Could Kyle have put it there? I love the what is it called? Terror Proof? What is that? What's the movie called that was done half by Tarantino and half by that other person, where the woman has has no leg, but she has a gun attached to her leg and she lifts her leg to shoot people. Terror, what was it called? Terror, I don't know. Terror Proof, Tarantino. It was like 2 movies in one. Oh man, was it Guillermo del Toro who did the other one? Can't remember. So anyway, Glen and Glenda Glenda made the limbs for Nika / Chucky so that the arms are missing, but then, Nika lifts the arm and it's this like metal extension of the arm and there's like a gun, but there's no bullets in it. But I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome. What did Debbie say? The butler deserved it? Wait, she went down when she sawed off Nika's limbs. The energy, Debbie says. Brockstar says, Lachlan Watson was very good in Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. The series was so good. I loved the series. I watched it as well. The butler deserved it, says Debbie. Brockstar said, did you watch the series? No, I haven't. I'm so... Oh, now is the time for sure to watch Sabrina, says Brockstar. Watch it. Julie says, I agree, Debbie. I thought that was unnecessary. What was it unnecessary that the butler got killed? Or was it unnecessary that the butler was so mean? Anthony says, Planet Terror is that. Thank you, Anthony. Planet Terror. So Don Mancini, I think, took inspiration from Planet Terror, but instead of putting the gun to the leg, Don Mancini gave Nika the metal limbs instead of the arms. But hey, I mean, Nika's probably also going to get legs, like metal legs. I'm sure she's going to start walking again somehow. I mean, who knows? You never know at this point. This show is taking us places we never expected. But, oh, okay, Debbie says, the butler I would have hurt, LOL. But the butler got killed, y'all. So, yeah. Yes, I know the Floor Runner, the groundbreaking film Glen or Glenda, 1953, starring Bela Lugosi. Yes, that's Ed Wood Jr.'s movie, Glen or Glenda by Ed Wood Jr. And then Tim Burton made with Johnny Depp and Sarah Jessica Parker the Glen or Glenda version, the modernized version of it. But yes, of course, and this is also Don Mancini's inspiration for Glen and Glenda from Ed Wood Jr. So, where was I? Oh, Julie Scott says no. Nika's arms and legs were so unnecessary. Yeah, I agree. I thought in episode one, when in season one, when Tiffany chops off Nika's limbs, I was like, whoa, this is way too much. This didn't need to happen. But then it just shows us how crazy Tiffany is and how far she would go to keep what she wants to own. Meaning, in this case, Chucky and Nika in one. So it also shows the desperation of the character. And in fact, she is quite desperate and sad, right? Lonely, isolated, not wanting to leave her mansion. Very fascinating. Hmm. Very, very fascinating. But so we don't know what happens with her family, like with her sister. Are we going to see her sister again in the next episode or not? What's happening with Gina? Also, how is all of this going to play out? Because you guys don't forget, we only have 4 episodes left. I mean, it's very short. It's a very, very short season, right? And I think, like, 4 episodes to go. Where are you going to go from here? And don't forget that Tiffany did not find a solution to the murder mystery. In fact, what we get to see is Chucky at the end of the episode. Again, we're back into Chucky's TV studio with a live audience watching. And Chucky's like, so. And then this girl comes in who's I don't know who she is, actress, influencer, adult actress. And I didn't do my research about her because she didn't seem really interesting to me. Maybe she's this like huge personality. Big fan of Chucky, obviously, because apparently she said she wanted to be in the movie and get chopped off. Anyway, oh, she's a wrestler? Yeah, okay. I'm not into wrestling, so I have no clue. But thanks for letting me know, Debbie. So anyway, Chucky then says, okay, nobody figured out like what really went down. And then Chucky has to explain how it went down. Who killed who, when, where, why, and how, right? And then he says, and I love how Don Mancini pokes at the audience because he knows that there's going to be some Chucky fans out there that are going to be disappointed with this episode because Chucky was not the main character in the episode. He wasn't doing all the killing and the slashing. So Chucky does say at the end of episode 4, he says, well, for all my fans who were expecting to see me all up in this episode slashing away, let me do it now for you because I know you're going to be upset if I don't. And then the wrestler chick or whoever she is comes out and then she's like, yeah, I want to get killed. Yay! And then he like stabs her and throws the F-bomb. And, meaning like, okay, I hope you're satisfied, you mofos, out there, you sickos wanting to see all this stuff. I loved that. It was so cool. And also a nice way for Don Mancini to say like, hey, let me do my thing as well. You're going to get all your killings and all your slashing Chucky, but just let me do also stuff I want to do and love to do. And I feel like an episode like this is where Don Mancini really goes with his dreams and desires. And I think the television station Peacock or Sci-Fi, where is he on Sci-Fi? They should give him that freedom to really go there because he's at his best when he has the freedom to get abstract and very, very art about what he's doing. That's where he's the strongest, and there's not a lot of directors out there that have that capacity and capability to deliver such beauty like he does in that respect. So I think what hurt him a lot was that Seed of Chucky was not that popular, but he was going in a very avant-garde direction with Seed of Chucky. That was modern horror, like light years ahead of its time. And it's still, for the most part, very misunderstood today. I wish people would understand more Seed of Chucky, because if that were a success, oh my God, could you imagine where we would be right now with the Chucky franchise? I'm really happy with where it's at right now, not complaining at all. But if Seed of Chucky were successful, I mean, we would have a Chucky universe right now that would be beyond our wildest dreams. I do believe so. I do believe so. Anthony says, I'm hopeful for season 3. I am too. I mean, I think this show, it just keeps getting better from episode to episode, from season to season, really. Um, who would have thought just after the first episode that we would be where we are now at episode 4? Like, it's insane. I definitely believe that this went way further than anybody's expectations. I've seen a lot of reviews after episode 1, and people were on YouTube, and people were like saying, I'm not so sure I'm liking the direction this is taking. They seem like, nah, 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 nah. And I'm like, this is Don Mancini, bitches. You, like, he's gonna take you place you're not gonna expect. And bam, here we are at the end of episode 4, like in a totally different universe. It's amazing. I am Oh yeah, Debbie, we are lucky to still have it. I completely agree, and I do believe we're gonna get season 3, because I think this is gonna be really successful. I'm not sure how the reviews are for episode 4. I have not seen any thus far. um I don't know. Was episode 4 received well or not? I loved it. Like, loved it. I can watch episode 4 over and over and over again. It's a standalone thing. It's masterful. I love it so much, but it's also getting to be so much like X-Files, you know? No, it's not Brockstar. No, there's no like aliens and shit like that happening. And it's very much the lore of, it's Chucky, quintessentially Chucky, and it's very much true to itself. So I think season 3 will happen, says Brockstar. Debbie says I don't think so. So Debbie, you don't think it's like X-Files, or you don't think it's season 3 is going to happen? Debbie says it's all Chucky. Oh, it's all Chucky for sure. It's pure Chucky. It's amazing. It's amazing how Chucky it is, actually. The colors, again, the cinematography. I love how they lit the talks, like the TV show studio for Chucky on his little couch, and how he sits down, all those lights, everything is in those, and how the furniture, the colors they chose for the furniture, everything is childish, like child's play. The yellows, the blues, the reds, the oranges, just perfection. Oh no, okay. Debbie says no, no. Season 3 should happen. I don't think that it's getting too much like X Files, says Debbie. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I also think season 3 should happen. Now, I was a little bit skeptical when the trailers, previews hit. I was like, oh, reform school. We're gonna do similar storyline like Chucky 3, the movie. But then, when the school turned out to be a little bit, like Hogwarts, I was like, oh, gotcha. This is going in that direction. Live in Ferret. So I'm fine with them staying longer in the reform school. I mean, they could find secrets in there, they could find passages in there, underground chambers with more story arches to discover and develop. It's a beautifully lit atmosphere. It's not too heavy and dark and cryptic. There's a lot of light penetrating through everything. It's kind of like Stanley Kubrick's approach to horror when he was shooting The Shining. He said, I really wanted to shoot a horror where there was like no shadows. Usually horror is in darkness, but I wanted The Shining to be shot in broad daylight. I wanted the terror to happen during the daytime, up until the last moments when, we have the escape into the snow at night at the end of the movie. But similar is happening in the reform school, because there's always light filtering through places. There's always a warm light. There's like a safety vibe, feeling of safetiness through the lights that they're emanating. And I love that Don Mancini does that he doesn't go with that creepy vibe of darkness with his horror, but rather stays very lit, very pop, saturated, slapstick, just the right amount. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Nobody else is delivering that at the moment, and he is, and I really, really am thankful to him for that. Very respectful of that. Brockstar says, I love it. Just hope others will. We're in that situation. Mm. Brockstar says, no, not like that, but the lore, it's very confusing to a lot of people. I've had friends say they don't understand what is going on. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Debbie says, you have to know Chucky. you have to know the Chucky history. You have to. You have to watch the movies from the first movie to the last, and then you got to jump into the TV show. There's no other way to really grasp the concept, but it's a complex concept, but actually once you grasp it, it's really simple. And the family structure, I mean, it's the most discombobulated family that exists, really, the most dysfunctional family as well. And like Jennifer Tilly in one of the interviews on Twitter says, the more Chucky loves you, the more he wants to kill you. And you're like, wait, how would how somebody that loves you wants to kill you? And she's like, well, that's how he shows affection. And that's comedy as well. You got to understand it to kind of get it. But Chucky says to Jake in season 1, I'm Jake, I'm not a monster. I have a gender neutral kid myself. And Jake is like, what? And Chucky loves his kid. I love Chucky so much. I didn't even know Chucky had lore until I watched your channel, says Tyler. Oh my God, Chucky has a lore. And the whole, how Chucky and Tiffany got a baby and how that baby grew up to be gender fluid. And then how that also, by the way, a doll, 2 dolls gave birth to a doll. Just, Anyway, and then the doll was made in Japan. Made in Japan. And then the doll transfers into human form, forgets about the past, is now having memory loss issues as a human, but not as one human, as 2 humans that are in reality one. Tiffany knows. It's just so brilliant. It's so beautiful. I mean, yeah, suspend your disbelief. That's a good one, Debbie. Yeah. Oh yeah, Debbie, it all makes sense to me as well. But it's so funny to watch some reviews and they're like, this doesn't make sense. I'm like, it does. It actually makes a lot of sense in a very beautiful and fragile, very fragile way. But everything is held together with this golden thread that Don Mancini created. I think he's a great, great, great storyteller and a great director. You know. Anyway, I'm looking forward to see if Tiffany is going to have some sort of resolution when it comes to the whodunit moment, because Tiffany doesn't know really what happened fully. Only Chucky told us, so we know. Glen and Glenda might know. Well, Glenda might know. Glen might not know everything. Um, and will Tiffany's sister still be there in the next episode, or are we going to completely forget about Death on Denial? I love the word game. Oh my God, Death on Denial? Come on, you guys. This is genius. Oh, Agatha Christie and then this? Come on. Can we talk? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this review. I'm having so much fun talking to you guys about this show. Um, we got 4 episodes to go and then it's over. But then, there's other great shows that are also coming I want to talk to you about and review together. Wednesday Addams, the new TV show, Hellraiser. Oh my gosh. Uh, I could also review Halloween Ends, but also The Munsters, Rob Zombie's The Munsters with Cassandra Peterson. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. And until next time, never forget to never give up on spooky, Chucky love. Bye.